apologize, my last video got cut off. So again, if I put -1/2 in for 5x, I get a negative segment length, and I cannot have negative segment length, so I know that x cannot be -1/2. However, if I put 3 in for all of my x's, I get positive segment lengths, so x can be 3. However, we're not just finding x, we wanted to find rs, which is that 5 times x. So if I put 3 in for x there, rs comes out to be 15. That's my answer. All right, moving on to number 9. I know that B is the midpoint of segment AC. So what that means is that AB would be congruent to BC. So since they're both congruent, that means that they're equal. So we can set the lengths equal to one another. And so now I'm going to solve for x by subtracting 3x from both sides. I get a 2x is equal to a 4. And dividing by 2 on both sides, x comes out to be 2. But then it says we want to find segment AC. So I need to put 2 in for x into the 5x. A 5x times a 2 is a 10. And so then 3 times a 2 is a 6, plus a 4 is also a 10. So that would mean all of segment AC would be a 10 plus a 10, which is a 20. Notice when I'm talking about the length of a segment, I do not put the segment bar above the letters here. If I'm not talking about its length, then I do put the segment bar above the letters. Just like with angle measures, if I'm talking about the measure, the degrees of an angle, I put M, the measure of the angle. If I'm not talking about the degree of your angle, then it's just angle PQR. Okay, moving on. So in each of these figures below, it says that, in this figure here, it says that A, B, C, D, and E, F are straight line segments, and we can also assume that all of these other line segments are straight as well. And we're going to find the measure of each of these angles. Well, if I'm using the same variable in all 3 of these angles, that means that all 3 of those angles are congruent. So we can put our arcs in to show that all those angle G's are congruent to each other. And now a reminder that a full circle adds to 360 degrees. So all those angles should add up to 360 degrees. So 3 times the measure of angle G, because there's 3 angle G's and they're all equal to one another, plus the 91 plus the other 91 plus the other 91 would equal 360 degrees. Well, a 91 plus a 91 plus a 91 gives us a 273. And that equals 360. And then I can subtract the 273 over. And I get 3 times the measure of angle G is equal to an 87. And then dividing by 3 on both sides. 87 divided by 3, I get the measure of angle G to be 29 degrees. Now, there were other ways that you could have potentially approached this problem. However, the reason that we used here is a full circle adds to 360 degrees. Right. Number 11, we want to find angle X. Well, there's multiple ways that we can do this. One thing that we did not yet learn, which we're going to talk about now, is vertical angles. Vertical angles, which this is a vertical angle with this, vertical angles are congruent. So if that yellow angle is 90 degrees, that means this blue angle is 90 degrees. And now angle X, that blue angle, and that 4X minus 10 degree angle, they create a straight line, which is a 180 degree angle. So if I do angle X plus that 90 degree angle plus that 4X minus 10 degree angle, that should equal 180 degrees. Combining like terms, an X plus a 4X is a 5X. A 90 minus a 10 is an 80. And that equals 180. Subtracting 80 from both sides, I get a 5X is equal to a 100. And then dividing by 5 on both sides, X comes out to be 20. Now X is not, well, I guess X is here degrees, so we can put degrees if we want, but sometimes X won't be a degrees, so we don't have to include the degrees. Now there's a couple of different reasons. The first reason, we use vertical angles are congruent. I'm using the congruent symbol. And we used that a straight line or a straight angle, same thing, is equal to 180 degrees. All right, moving on to number 12. There's, a couple of different ways that you can approach this. You can use the fact that this angle that I'm highlighting in green, since it creates a V and its opposite V shape is this one here, those are vertical angles, okay? So what that would mean is angle Y, and this angle would be congruent. So we need to find that angle, and how we can find that angle is that 68 degree angle and that vertical angle create a straight line. So they are supplementary, they add to 180. They're a linear pair, they add to 180, okay? So 180 minus 68 would give me that angle is 112 degrees, which since angle Y and that 112 degree angle are vertical angles, that means Y is 112. Oops. And since Y is an angle measure, then we can write degrees if we wish. Now what we used here was we used linear pair, which is two angles creating a straight line. Or if you said supplementary angles, that would be okay. Or if you said a straight angle equals 180 degrees, that would also be okay. And we also used vertical angles are congruent. But now we need to find X. So X, to find X, this is a straight line. And so these three angles together create a 180 degree angle because a straight line adds to 180. So if I do 4x minus 2 plus that 30 degree angle plus that 112 degree angle, that would equal 180. Combining like terms, I would get a 4x plus a 140 is equal to a 180. Subtracting 140 from both sides, I would get a 4x is equal to 40, and dividing by 4 on both sides, I would get x is 10. I'm not going to write degrees because x is part of an angle measure. It's not the whole angle measure. And now what I used there is I didn't use a linear pair because pair means 2. I actually used 3 angles to say that this created a straight angle. So I also used that a straight angle equals 180 degrees. All right, we are on our last problem of the video. So, angle QRS is obtuse. What that means is it could be anywhere in between 90 degrees and 180 degrees. So, a measure of angle QRS can be anywhere less than 180 degrees or greater than 90 degrees. It cannot be equal to 90 degrees. It cannot be equal to 180 degrees. Now the measure of angle QRS is 2x plus 41 degrees. So we're going to put that in for the measure of angle QRS. So I have a 90 is less than a 2x plus 41, which is less than 180. We want to find all the possible values of x. We're going to write our answer in inequality form. So this is actually called a compound inequality. And what we can do is we can solve this inequality by working from the middle out. So I'm going to solve for x by first subtracting 41 from the middle, but then I need to subtract 41 from both parts of my inequality parts. So a 90 minus a 41 is a 49. And then I'm going to draw my inequality symbol and leave my 2x there. My 41s disappear from the center. And a 180 minus a 41 is a 139. Then I'm going to divide by 2 on both sides. Not on both sides, sorry, on all 3 sides. A 49 divided by a 2 is a 24.5. And then I have my x, the 2's cancel. And a 139 divided by a 2 is a 69.5. So what this means, this is my answer. And what this means is that if I put any number between 24.5 and 69.5 in for x in my 2x plus 41, it would give me an obtuse angle measure. All right, that brings us to the end of the level 4 notes.